Hi everybody, I'm back. So we've been talking about my symptoms. We've been talking about, a little bit about the battle that I've been going through. What I want to do right now is I want to talk a little bit about my warning signs, my triggers, and how I'm able to recognize that I'm in a depressive episode, how I'm able to recognize that I'm in a panic episode, which is actually pretty easy, and how I'm able to see them coming on. Now, depression is an insidious little bugger. As I said before, it is not delusion for me. I do not find myself with unrealistic thoughts. Anybody that knows me knows that I am a very competent and capable debater. Unfortunately, that turns against myself. It's a question of glass half empty, glass half full. Really, as simple as it is, my glass was always half empty. And I was always angry that I couldn't get it full. My triggers, primarily, at least at this point in time, the ones that I've identified are frustration and anger. Frustration for me comes in a lot of forms. Comes with driving on the road with people that don't know how to drive. Those guys that are doing 10 kilometers an hour under the limit in the left lane. The guys that cut you off. That's a lot of frustration. Work last year was an incredible amount of frustration. I've been in the restaurant industry for many, many years, but the challenge that I had in the situation I was in, and the difficulty that I encountered in doing even the simplest things in the restaurant, really got to the point where it was ridiculous. A simple thing like finding out an alarm code from a particular restaurant turned into a month-and-a-half long ordeal, about 25 different phone calls between my head office, 5 different alarm companies, and it just seemed like everything in my life last year was like that. And at some point in time, that's all I was doing, was fighting. I wasn't being proactive about anything. I wasn't trying to prevent problems. I was being utterly reactive, and I was entirely and totally reacting to problems. And when you're reacting to problems like that, quite often you don't react in the right way. Quite often you make things worse. Because again, you're a negative person. So a negative situation comes your way, or a difficult situation comes your way, and what are you going to feel? You're going to feel frustration about it. You're going to feel anger. Why does it have to be that way? Why did that person act mean to me? Why can't my staff feel this way or do their jobs properly? Why can't I do my job properly? It's insidious because it slips in there, and before you know it, that's all you're thinking about day to day. This isn't a depression attack I'm describing. This was just my normal life. And it was this normal life that led to my breakdown, that led to me coming up to a hill that I just couldn't quite get over, or a cliff that I couldn't climb over. Around the time I started to feel like that at work, I started to have a number of very trademark depressive symptoms that I missed entirely. I stopped eating about halfway through August. Last 2 weeks of August, the most I ate in a day was probably 1 meal. I was also drinking an awful lot. Pathetic for if you want to consider me an alcoholic, but when you're coming home from work every day and having 4 or 5 or 6 drinks, it's certainly not the best thing in the world for you. But I found that I had to unwind because at the same time as not eating, I was also not sleeping. And without those 4 or 5 or 6 beers, I would be up till 5 or 6 in the morning. Sometimes I'd wake up at 8 and I couldn't get back to sleep. Sometimes I couldn't wake up till 2. I didn't know from one day to the other what my sleeping patterns were going to be like. Now, at this point in time, I probably should have realized that there was something pretty serious going on. And I did. But I blamed it on frustration. My wife and my mother had asked me to get help. And I said, basically, screw you. I'm stressed as all heck. Work is killing me. We've been through so much this year. How am I not supposed to feel a little bit sad? But let's look at the warning signs again. Let's look at where I missed. Feeling like I couldn't get anything done, like I was climbing a hill that couldn't be climbed. That's a big one. Feeling utterly and totally full at all times and not wanting to eat ever. having to choke down the food that you do eat, because there was that part of me that knew I had to eat. You know, not sleeping, resorting to alcohol to try and help me sleep. If there's anybody listening to this right now and any of this is ringing a bell to you, DM me, talk to me, okay? Let's talk about it, because I don't want you headed where I am right now, okay? This is, you know, a little bit of the beginning of how I got started. These are the warning signs that I missed. And I want you guys really to listen to your friends, watch your friends, and see. You know, it's really easy to find out if somebody is in a situation like that if you're paying attention. Watch them. Look at those eyes that stare at the 1,000-mile stare. Notice how they don't respond to you for a second or two after every time you talk to them or ask them a question. Notice how they don't return calls, they don't return texts. They constantly seem disorganized. They constantly seem tired. Watch what they're eating. Just through simple observation, you can help somebody that you know that you may not have any idea is going through a time like this. So keep your eyes out. And again, please share this. DM me or share a message on the thread. Let's talk.